Okay, so we're going to factor again, of course, but this first one I noticed that all of these numbers here, these two coefficients in this constant term, are all even, which means I can factor out a 2 right at the beginning. So when I do that, I'm left with x squared plus 4x minus 5. And the good thing about this is that it's going to be easy factoring, quick factoring, right? Because now my value of a, which is the number that's in front of the x squared, is 1. So that means I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 5, but add to be positive 4. And those two numbers are going to be, let me put my x's in, multiply to be negative 5, add to be positive 4. It's going to be a positive 5 and a negative 1. Now on the bottom, I can't do any quick factoring. So I'm going to write my expression here, and we're going to use the same method we used the last time. We're going to multiply a and c. And when we multiply a and c, we get 12. And we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 12, but add to be negative 7. And those two numbers are going to be, remember, a negative times a negative equals a positive. That's what we want. So we're going to use negative 3 and negative 4 because they will multiply to be positive 12, but add to be negative 7. And now we're going to use our a over method. So we're going to put our value of a, which is 4, over the two numbers, the two factors that we found. So 4 over negative 3 and 4 over negative 4. The first fraction is already completely simplified. The second fraction we can simplify to be 1 over negative 1. Notice that I left it in fraction form, even though I could simplify that to negative 1. I'm going to leave it as a fraction because I need a top and a bottom in order to write my binomial. Also notice that I left the negative where it originally was. Okay, I didn't move it out front, I didn't move it on the top. Leave the negatives where they are originally. So now I'm going to use 4 over negative 3 to write my first binomial, and 1 over negative 1 to write my second binomial. So now I'm going to come back up here, and I'm just going to kind of draw an arrow here, because I'm going to write it over here to the right. So I have 4x minus 3 and x minus 1. Now this time we were asked to find restrictions on the variable. So now here's where we do it, right? After we've completely factored, but before we start canceling things out, this is where we write our restrictions. Now this restriction might be easy to see because we know that 1 minus 1 would give us 0. So this restriction would be a 1, right? If I plug a 1 in here, then I'm going to get 0. For the other one, it's a little bit harder to see because it's 4x minus 3. So we're going to take it off to the side and solve it. If I set 4x minus 3 equal to 0, then to solve for x, I would add 3 to both sides and then divide both sides by 4. So that is my other restriction. If this x were equal to 3/4, then this whole binomial would be 0. So my restrictions are that x cannot be 1 and x cannot be 3/4. Now, since I've taken care of the restrictions, let's get back to the simplifying. X minus 1 over x minus 1 will cancel. And my final simplified answer is 2 times the quantity x plus 5 all over 4x minus 3.